ya. Welcome to LSB Feaster's radio channel and travel corner, where we keep great radio from the past alive. Today we're going to New York and 710 WOR with master storyteller Gene Shepard. If you've never heard Gene's show, it's amazing. He would just take an hour every night and tell stories about his life. He would sometimes have stories going off for 3 or 4 different angles, and somehow in the last 90 seconds of the show, tie them all together. Man, this guy was good. In the 1950s, he was working in a steel mill and managed to get a job in radio, and then worked at WOR from the 1950s until the late 1970s, just hanging on and captivating his audience every night. He wrote several books, in fact, Wanda Hickey's Night of Golden Memories and Other Disasters, A Fistful of Fig Newtons, and my favorite, In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. He actually managed to get himself into TV and did several shows for PBS and public television in the 1970s, including my favorite, a show called Shepherd's Pie. Fascinating show if you ever get to find it on YouTube. And for many, Gene is best known for his 1983 movie, A Christmas Story. If you've ever seen that movie, Gene wrote that movie, and the whole movie is a collection of his stories that he told over the radio for many years about his alter ego, Ralphie, which is supposed to be Gene when he's a little kid. If you've never seen the movie and listen to Gene narrate the movie, it sounds just like his radio show. If you like what you hear, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, and after you do, smack that bell, and you will be notified whenever we post anything new. All right, get comfortable for an hour of Gene Shepard on 710 WOR New York.
Hear news as it happens over WOR 710 on your dial, your station for news in New York. Coming up, Gene Shepard.
George, hello test. Wait, somebody's been fooling around with the amplifier here. Yeah, this is ein gut. Oh, yes, have you seen that commercial? I tell you, they've opened up a whole new area of commercial exploitation. Did you see the commercial on now? Where on the television, it's also in the magazines. It says, I say fooey on the old traditions. Guten Tag. Smiling employees of Lufthansa. You will continue to be efficient and meticulous and punctual and all those nice German things. You will stop being dull and cold and humorless and all those not nice German things. Be schmaltzy, not stuffy. Signed, the Red Baron. So the Red Baron is now doing new concerts. Opens up a whole new area. All right, here we go now. You think that, yes, indeed, you think the Stones make groovy sounds. Hey, does anybody out there have the lyrics to Hindustan? No, I mean, the real lyrics. If you give me the lyrics to Hindustan, I'll really sing it tonight. Oh, Hindustan. Now, wait a minute, you're talking to the original vagabond lover here, baby. You don't talk like that to the silver masked tenor. Yeah, I think that opens up a whole new avenue for commercials, you know. With a Red Baron doing the Lufthansa commercials. Give me a little echo chamber. Can't you see this other airline coming out with it? See? Sayonara. Japan Airline now sends you wonderful service brought to you by same people who brought you Toa. Excellent navigation, the same people who brought you Pearl Harbor now bring you wonderful Japan Airline service. Signed, Admiral Hokayawa. Admiral Mugama, who's in charge of Task Force 22, who took to Pearl Harbor. It's getting out of hand here. It's getting out of hand here. Oh, my. It's bad news. Bad news. I'll tell you, I'm sorry. I wonder how many people think the Red Baron is somebody who was invented by Snoopy. I'll bet a lot of people. Man is doomed. Oh, by the way, we'd like to give you a special report here from Radio Manila. Just come in. Would you please give me a special report here, George? Radio Manila, special report. Coming. Oh, not too much there, please. Echo chamber not good for too much enunciation. Manila, National Bureau of Investigation and 3 other government agencies of Manila are trying to find out who is showing stag movies over Manila television channels. Radio control officers received several recent complaints that Bombas, the sex stag movies popular in Manila theaters after night, are being televised after the local stations sign off at midnight. Head of Local Control Office Leonardo Gashaya says, the first to complain were the stations. They paid fees for frequencies. Someone is using them illegally to show stag movies. Also destroying image of stations. Making very, very good ratings, but not doing much for image. Thank you. Thought you ought to know that somebody's coming at you. Well, I'll tell you what it's like. I mean, you don't realize what that is. I mean, you know how the TV stations sign off, after the God Squad takes over, and there's that brief moment when they show the stained glass window, and they go, Rock of Ages, da-da-dee. And this reverend comes on. They say, here's the Reverend J.W. Gilhooly Clodhopper from the Fourth International Holy Roller Church. And he comes on, he says, I want to wish all of you to look deep down inside of yourself tonight and to make sure that you have not sinned in the 24 hours. And you have not missed the 29th rerun of I Love Lucy, which brings to you all the marvelous American virtues that you are lacking in your lives today. Well, right after that, how when they come on and they got the Star Spangled Banner then, and on comes the Star Spangled Banner, the flag is waving, all those jet planes fly over, and those Marines march around, all that stuff, all that, peace-loving stuff. After that, immediately on comes this snow, it comes like a... And you get this sick feeling. They've left you. You know that terrible feeling where the TV station goes, it goes, ba, 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 and then it hits at the end, ba, 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 ba. There's a brief pause, and then it goes, clunk. Nothing but snow when you sit out there with the bereft feeling. Well, that doesn't happen these days in Manila. When they go off the air, on comes a very faint signal of poor quality. And it's stag films. And they don't know who's doing it. They don't know who's doing it. And according to the report we have here, it says that the investigation indicates someone is misusing a legitimate closed-circuit operation, or an amateur electronic buff is at work. All right, would you please give me that? I'll try that again, George. We have just received the words to Hindustan and the original Greek. Here, let's go. Program. I'm sorry. You people are so serious out there, and here I am, frittering away your lives. Should I straighten up, Lee, or do you prefer this, George? George is making no comment. Got to straighten up here. Nothing like a good cold commercial in the face to straighten you up quick.
Palisades has arrived. The party's okay. Come on over. Palisades from coast to coast. Where a dime buys the most. Palisades amusement park. Swing all day after dark. Find the girl with it. So come on over.
Quack, 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 quack. Gee, that's a good commercial. Palisades amusement park is now open, friends. And this is the last year. So if you want to get over there and get homogenized on one of them rides, friend, you better get over there this year quick. Forever hold your peace. You're going to be stuck with all them reruns of the Danny Thomas Show. There ain't much else to do anymore. A lot of teeth. This is Ed McMahon here, and this is WOR, your friendly, reliable voice of true family concern in New York, which is a very sincere city. Unbelievable city to visit, friends. Yes, sir, you won't believe it. You spent 2 weeks here and you won't believe it. It's an unbelievable city to visit, and you should live here once. Hoo-hoo. All right, George, get them while they're still squatting.
If you're about to graduate from high school, enlist now for 3 years in armor, artillery, or infantry, and successfully complete a 4-month training program here in the United States, you're off to Europe for a minimum 16 months tour of duty. And with 30 days paid vacation a year, you can imagine the opportunities you'll have to travel all over Western Europe. That's 800 Today's Army.
Sometimes I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I dream that. Oh, come on over. We just got a call from somebody who says, you had the nerve to put down hee-haw. Yes, I know you said it, dear. I mean, you don't want to have your own how's it going to sound like my own producer calls me up and says you're doing a rotten show, huh? Listen, that's the first time you ever heard the Japanese lyrics to Hindustan. And we're getting deluged from all kinds of people all over, from as far away as Tarrytown, New York, who would like to hear the Hindustan done again in Japanese. And it's just because of my tremendous self-control that we're not doing it again. Do you like that in there, Herb? He's making no comment. Because you got to understand, he really likes Julie Andrews. So what are you going to do? You know, he saw Sound of Music 34 times. He's got an 8-track stereo. So you know what kind of problems he's got. It's terrible when you see moss on a guy's bones. A lot of tee. Oh, yeah. A lot of ta-ta-ta-ta. Hey, will somebody write to Bob Williams at the New York Post? And please tell him that I did not at any point attempt to illustrate my memories, quote, in the steel mill. Would you please tell him that? My TV show was not designed to illustrate memories. Can you imagine such missing of the point? Oh, well. A lot of teeth. Kambala. All right. That's enough of that. I'll straighten out here. And let you know how it's going. Hey, listen, did any of you, just a rhetorical question out there. I was over at the Overseas Press Club about an hour ago. You know, I go over there once in a while, pay my dues. And, a guy's got to pay his dues. Ain't no way to get through life without paying your dues, friends. No way. A lot of guys think they can work it out. No way. You pay them in the end. Oh, yeah, you pay them in a lot of ways. Yes, sir. The first time I discovered you paid your dues, I'm squatting around a campfire. I'm at the age of 10, and I'm in the Cub Scouts. You ever been in the Cub Scouts? Oh, we had a crack outfit. Close order drill, the whole bit, PT and everything. And I had this little green hat, a little beanie they give the Cub Scouts. I'm squatting around out there, and I want to tell you, I stole a marshmallow. We're supposed to only have 2 marshmallows. And I stole one. I took 3. They passed them around. They got campfire marshmallows, I figured I could get at the world, That way a guy always figures, your eyes are often awful big. You got big eyes, friends? That can be your end. Got them big eyes. Big eyes and no talent will combine to make you nothing, friends. You got to have big eyes and talent, and then you'll just barely squeak by. But if you just got nothing but big eyes, you're going to get it. And I'm sitting around and I grabbed that extra marshmallow and I stuck it in the fire there at the end of the stick. Do you know the inside of my mouth is still burnt from that? I'm still paying dues for that. You ever stick a quick marshmallow in your trap? A stolen marshmallow? Because they were coming around. I had a full field inspection in the Cub Scout there to make sure that we had all our tent pegs and all that. And yeah, we did. We used to have a medical officer would come out there at 3 o'clock in the morning. He'd blow the whistle, and all the Cub Scouts had to fall out. Rain coats, helmets, helmet liners. And you got to watch that sort of stuff. You just got to watch that.
What's he talking about? This silly fool. He doesn't talk sense.
That's right, ma'am. Can you point me out a man who does? I'd like to know him. I'd like to meet somebody who talks sense. First of all, I'd like to have you define to me what sense is. I guess sense is what you believe, huh? That's right. That's also what's relevant, what you believe, right? I'm not, I'm just thinking here. See, I'm debating here whether I ought to plunge right in and do it. You know, last week we had this big press show over here. And I just wanted to tell you, we had a press conference over there at the OPC, the Overseas Press Club, you know, for all the kids that write for college papers and all that. And I went over there tonight to have dinner. And they were still flushing kids out of the lower floors there. There are some kids who have been over there for 3 days. They can't get them out, you know, hiding under the sinks and stuff and the john and all that, and they flush them out once in a while. One kid was disguised as a spittoon, had this brass hat on his head, and guys were spitting into it all the time. Turns out he was a kid from Bayside High School. But what are you going to do? I mean, you can't put a kid down because he's only 2 feet 9 inches tall, 4 feet wide, and that's his thing. Had 4 legs. Well, is there any kid out there that was there at the press conference? We'd like to hear from you. Just give me a call. We'd like to give you a brief quiz on some very important strategical and tactical maneuvers which we're about to carry off here. We're working on a pincers movement, you know, with the Red Baron. And, yeah, I guess a lot of people do feel that the Red Baron is some kind of a beagle. That, you know, it must be something. Can't you see the Baron Manfred von Richthofen? What's that? I wonder if you know I'll bet a lot of you don't know the Baron's middle name. In fact, I'll bet not many of you can tell me the first name of the Red Baron. A lot of people can't even tell you his last name. It wasn't Baron, by the way, in case you're curious. And he wasn't red. Yes, hello. Yes, hi, kid. Yeah, you okay tonight? How you feel? A little nervous? Yeah, I don't blame you, you know, after all, it's the beginning of the week, yeah. Everything under control?
Oh, yeah, fine.
Yeah. Been drinking lately?
Oh, not much.
No, you're cooling it, huh?
Yeah, listen, I asked a question about the drug problem last year and this year.
You had the question about a drug problem?
Yeah, and I want to say you gave a great answer.
Thank you.
Kids at school enjoyed it. You know, writing up in the newspaper.
Well, you know, that drug problem is something that, I guess you got to live with it before you understand about it. As I said in the meeting, I have 3 friends, or did have three friends, who are now dead of ODs.
Yeah.
And who all told me at the time, you know, drugs are no worse than a martini. And it was goodbyesville for them. All 3 of them, by the way. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you dug it.
Right, thanks.
Did you enjoy the meeting last week?
Fantastic.
You know? How'd you like the TV show?
Oh, it was great, yeah.
Well, it's, you know, it's a lot of fun. And wait till you see the next week's show. That's something else again.
Right, that's the one about Maine?
Yeah, well, actually, it's the first show that really exploits stag films, you know, as an art form.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it. It's in color.
Right.
It's the orgy up in Lil's place. You'll dig it.
Yeah.
Watch the guy with the black socks and the mustache. He's terrific.
Okay.
Okay? Right.
Thanks.
Swings from the chandelier, yeah. Well, yeah, what's the matter? Hello? Yeah, you okay? You calm tonight? You're finally getting over it. You're okay now. Your knee's okay now? After you got a terrible shot in the gut there once. I saw that. That little girl with the mustache got you there. I saw that. It was terrible. Yeah. Did you enjoy the press conference? Well, what was so wrong with last year? Too many kids last year. Oh, I see. You judge it by where you're sitting there. I see. But you enjoyed it. Yeah, everything. You got any of those Cokes in the back there? Yeah, that's true. This year there were a lot of Cokes. Well, that's what we wanted. We wanted to make sure there was plenty there. And now I'm in the Coke business. You liked the TV show. Good. How'd you like the way I wore that hard hat? You like the devil in the steel mill, huh? Well, okay. I hope you join next week's. Yeah, hang in, kid. That's all I got. No, that's enough. Oh, one more? Hey, we're not taking show. Yeah. Hello, hi. Yeah.
Last year you called me Bruner.
Yeah, you are Bruner.
That's right.
That's right. I can tell by the yellow teeth.
I gave you the Coke, remember, at the end?
I do, yeah. If there's anything I hate, it's a Coke with a cigar butt in it, kid. That was a pretty smart thing you did there. It's still stuck in my throat, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Crying out loud. Did you enjoy it?
It was great.
Great. Did you tell your mother, you know, that everything's okay now?
Yeah, I told her it was fine, even though you stepped on my head.
She was worried, huh?
That's right.
You enjoy the whole thing, then?
Yeah, every year.
All right. Think clean thoughts now.
Okay.
Keep your gut in, the kid.
Thanks.
All right, to stand up straight. Quit slumping. Kid slumps over. I hate kids that slump. Let up the That's enough of that now. We have had 17 requests. Let's go, George. 1, 2. 1, 2, hot dog. Leave him crying for more, George. And I can just hear him out there crying for more. It's just, it's getting out of hand. Hey, listen, I'll tell you. Oh, man, I'll tell you, there's no better feeling than having summer coming around, you know? I mean, I'm serious. Oh, there's a couple of other better feelings. I mean, I could get the graphic here, but actually, it feels real good. And, some kid asked me the other day, what do I think of hot pants? Listen, any red-blooded male has only one thing that he thinks about hot pants, right, George? Yes, sir. I'm all for them. The hotter, the better. Yes, sir. I saw a chick walking down the street with her pants in flames today. Yeah, what's that? Oh, what's the matter? We're getting a call here. It's coming in now. Wait a minute, you said that, what's his name, Spyro? What is that? Calling in? A girl calling in. Well, for heaven's sakes. Well, we'll have to try that one. I don't know. Is it on, yeah. Is this the one? Yeah. Hello. Hi, you're a girl. You're a girl. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't answer my question. I said oh, wait a minute. We got the wrong one. Yeah, hello. Oh, I don't know what this is. I got some lady who wants to talk about an autobiography of Goethe. For crying out loud, there's always one out there. Oh, Hindustan. I'll tell you this, though, for all intents and purposes, I'm sitting there in the bus today, and I'm just contemplating my navel, as you often do when you're in the bus. And I'm a bus cuckoo. I enjoy riding in the buses here in New York, don't you? At all? And I'm sitting there in the bus, contemplating my navel. I love to read those car cards all up and down the bus there. And I'm reading the car cards, and it's this big picture of this chick, with the blonde hair, and this is only her hairdresser nose. And judging by most of the hairdressers I've met in my time, I've met a few, I don't think he'd know. Do you agree, George? I doubt very much whether he'd know. I mean, we've had several visits. Remember Chucky used to show up on a show here? He didn't know much about that kind of stuff. And so I'm walking down the street after I got off the bus there, and I saw a sad scene. Everything is getting out of hand there. I saw this little corgi. Is that the kind of dog? Lee, you're my dog expert. Is there a dog called a corgi? Is it corgi or corgi? With a hard G or a soft G? Did she say there? I can't. Hard G, corgi. Well, there's a little tiny dog. See, what he looks is like one of these little Johnny mops with feet, and little squirt. And I'm walking along the street there, and up ahead of me is this lady with this little corgi, and along comes this tall, skinny guy with the pink shirt, with the fluffy ruffles all around it, and he's got these gold shoes, and he just looks so elegant, and he's floating down the street, and he's got this gigantic Great Dane. And, they're tremendous Dane. It's the kind of Great Dane you could throw a saddle on him, and ride him from here to the West Coast and back. A tremendous dog. In fact, this dog was walking along, and you could feel the ground tremble under his feet when he'd walk. And at the same time, I tell you, he stops by a fire plug, man. There's action. So he's walking on big shoulders, and along comes this little corgi, see? And the corgi sees him. Talk about a mean little squirt. Oh, well, I'm sorry, hon. It's too late now. Oh, all right. Now, we have to give in here. Now, you're just killing the whole story. Hello. Are you a girl?
Yes.
Oh, yes, you certainly are. Hello there.
I'm Lorraine. I met you in the restaurant the other night.
You're Lorraine, and you met me... Wait a minute, Lorraine. Hold it. Wait a minute. This isn't the right Lorraine. Like, what are you getting me into? I remember her. It was down at the Bluebird over there, Route 22. Yeah. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I met you in the restaurant with two boys after the Overseas Press Club.
Oh, you mean you saw me down there in the restaurant, the OPC, yeah?
Yeah, and you made us that picture.
Yeah, I remember you. You're Lorraine, yeah.
Yeah, how are you?
I sure remember you, yeah.
I really had a great time.
My brain has been clouded up since you came in there.
I really had a great time. I loved it, and I can't wait till next year.
Yeah?
I wish I had another one again.
Was there any talk around school about it?
Well, I talked to some of my friends, and I met so many kids there. They really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was great. I liked that Indian wrestling, especially down in the basement later. You missed it. They had to call the cops and the whole business, squirt water on them and everything.
There's still kids wandering around there?
Yeah, there's 3 of them. They just flushed them out. One kid was disguised as a spittoon. He's wearing this brass hat.
Oh, it's really great. I really loved it.
Okay, Lorraine.
Talking to you.
You're all right, baby.
Thank you.
So long.
Bye.
So long. All right, now, let me go already. I'm sorry. It's Monday, you know how it is. No, it is Monday, isn't it? Sure. By George, it is. But, I'm sitting there. I have to finish this because, it's spring. See, and everybody at springtime, he feels bigger than he really is. That's the trouble with spring, that the sap flows. You've heard this whole business, and you begin to feel 10 feet tall. You're walking down the street. I'm not kidding you. I saw a chick, though, today on 6th Avenue. She had these hot pants on. It was fantastic. They were really hot. They were in fire. They were, flames. And, I don't know how she worked that. She must have kerosene in them or something, some kind of heaters in them or something. Anyway, there was a lot of smoke flying around. And people were running around in and out of the chock full of nuts, and it was fantastic. She walked past the chock full on, the chock down here on 6th Avenue, and all these guys were sitting there eating tuna sandwiches, tuna salad sandwiches and brownies. And I'll tell you, suddenly there was unbelievable interest in tuna salad. Up to a certain point, tuna salad, it'll turn you on. And this chick goes by, and she's trailing smoke, and it's like watching, like a forest fire. These guys fell, like 9 guys fell instantly off of these stools. They got these little stools there. Got up, and they're brushing the hot chocolate off them, and guys are saying, "Oh, I'm sorry." And well, we're living in exciting times, no question about it. But I must say this, though, for those of you who are not observant of our time, especially the spring days are coming around, you see all kinds of things. The worm is turning everywhere you look, I'll tell you. The world is turning hip. Yeah, it's great. I'm all for it. Oh, no, I don't fight it. I'm for it, baby. Yes, sir. As you know, I have a history. But nevertheless, I'm all for it. And I saw a very interesting move today. I was walking along on the 5th. No, it was right 42nd Street near 5th. By the library there. And there's always a lot of action there about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All the guys come. The chicks are walking around up there. It's a pretty exciting place. And it is. You got to know how to look, though. And so I'm walking along. I cut across 5th Avenue, see? And here's this lady walking along there, and she's got this corgi. He really does. He looks like a little brown Johnny mop with feet. He's waddling along there, and he's taking about 500 steps to every step she takes. A little kind of dog walking along there, and she's got a little silver chain on him. Well, along comes Mr. Chucky. Mr. Chucky and his friend Dickie. And they've just been out spending a weekend out of Fire Island, getting their place ready, for the big summer. And Mr. Chucky's got this Great Dane, fantastic Great Dane, big sort of a chocolate au lait colored Great Dane, and he looks like the dog that was the stand-in for the Mastiff in the Hounds of the Baskerville. tremendous monster, and he had a great big collar, with big silver spikes on it and all that, and he's walking along. And this little corgi, sees him coming. Well, I want to tell you, I never saw anything like it. The corgi goes, ow, 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 ow. You know how corgis will do? Well, the lady pays no attention to him. Apparently he talks like this all the time, so she just walks along and he goes, ow, 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 ow. Well, she went a little too close to this big Great Dane. The Great Dane is walking along and his big jowls hanging down, and Mr. Chucky is looking very elegant with the silver chain, and he's got a velvet handle on the silver chain. Oh, it's just something else again, and he's walking along, and I could hear him saying to Chucky, well, of course, Fellini would do that sort of thing. And his friend Dickie says, well, I'll just tell you that Betty Davis thought it was marvelous. And, it's a typical intellectual discussion. And with that, his Great Dane spots the corgi. Well, now, I hope you realize the corgi is roughly the size of a very small grapefruit. Yes, a very small Texas grapefruit, which is a second-rate grapefruit. Well, the Great Dane, I happened to be walking right at him. His eyes popped out like two tromped-on grapes. He sees the corgi, and the corgi looks at him, and he backs down, and he goes, ow, 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 ow. With that, he flew, and he bit this Great Dane on the lower part of his ankle, which is as high as the corgi could reach. The corgi was standing up like, right at the tip of his toes there, and he got him about 3 inches off the ground, which was a big jump for a corgi, see. The Great Dane passed out. He flipped, and the Great Dane, I've never seen a dog's hair turn gray instantly from fear. The Great Dane went out of his bird, and with that, he's scared to death, see, and the little dog is, ah, ah, ah. With that, Mr. Chucky turns to the lady and says, will you take that great flaming beast and get that great flaming beast away from my dog? And they went down the street, and this little corgi, all the way down the street, he's going down, looking back over his shoulder, and the Great Dane with his tail between his legs, he's skulking, got big tears. Oh, yeah. Oh, so nice. Thank you, George. Hold on. Tora. It's pushing to the Red Baron there. So everywhere you look, things are happening. It's kind of good, in a way. You awake in there, baby? Yeah, I thought so. I'd wake you up. Somehow I like the idea of stag films being shown on TV. I want to tell you a little story about that, if you guys don't mind. This comes through the United Press wires if it's the first time. But a long time ago when I was in college, and I was working at this radio station, and they had a TV outlet and all, out in Cincinnati, and struggling away there. And I was, really involved in amateur radio and all that stuff, and as I still am, sort of. And this friend of mine was an engineer. But a design engineer. He's a hip design engineer. He came out of Purdue, and he could design all this stuff. And so he bought himself a whole raft of this beautiful surplus equipment. The Army equipment, all painted green and stuff like that. He bought about 5 tons of it for about $10 and all kinds of stuff. And so he stripped it down. All kinds of high-frequency stuff. And an amateur, by the way. I won't give you his call because of what he did. And he's down in the basement, and he's designing very, very esoteric equipment for him. And he built the first one I ever heard of, the first amateur television transmitter I've ever heard of. Now, a lot of you people know about hams, you keep thinking CB is amateur. It's nothing. CB is not amateur radio. Don't get that into your head. It is not. Amateur radio is something totally different. Now, amateur radio could be a lot of what you hear on the station here, but that's another kind of amateur radio. Right, George? So, nevertheless, that's ham radio. That's something else. But amateur radio is a very esoteric subject, and FCC licenses and all that. So my friend goes down in his basement, and he builds this high-frequency amateur television transmitter. Now, maybe you don't realize what kind of an achievement it is. It was a fantastic achievement. And naturally, because he was on the ham bands at that time with this transmitter, there was no receiving equipment could get him. In fact, there were no other amateurs in that area that were broadcasting on television. I bet a lot of you don't know that some hams broadcast on TV, and they sit and talk to each other on TV. So, but this was before that time, and he was building this equipment, and he got it on the air. Now, I'm going to describe an experiment to you. He built a transmitter that was a TV transmitter. Now, he built it from scratch. No, seriously, he built it from scratch. Yes, you can do it, and he did it. Not only did he do it, he also built the camera. He built everything from scratch. Well, he took a television set, which he converted the front end and converted a lot of things in it, so that at the other end of the basement, he could put his TV transmitter on the air, and he could pick it up at the other end. In other words, he's got his own little television transmitter. You got it? Okay, so there were 3 or 4 hams, including myself, who were around town, who were very interested in this. And we used to come down to his house and hang around and watch him work on the equipment. We played around with it a little bit. But the thing is, two-way television is really something else. Now, for those of you who've never tried it, two-way TV is really a wild experience. Most people are used to one-way television, where they watch a person, and that's it. Well, if you can imagine two-way TV, he's watching you while you're watching him. You sit there and talk. So that's the essence of two-way amateur radio television. Well, there was nobody around there that had a transmitter. So what Jack did, he and a couple of other guys, they got about a half dozen old television sets, which they worked on and converted to pick up his signal. He had a transmitting antenna up on the top of his house. Now remember, it's this amateur transmitting, amateur TV set, and he's not on the ordinary channels that you're having. In fact, he was broadcasting on 160 meters, if you're curious. So with that, 3 or 4 guys around town put up good receiving antennas, and we began to see Jack's transmissions. And the way he would broadcast at night, he would go on from 10 until midnight, and he would broadcast a test signal. In addition to that, from time to time, he would broadcast a picture, like he would broadcast a portrait, a photograph, see. And what we would do is run around and we'd take pictures of our TV screen, see. Okay, you got that story now? Now, you with it, Lee? I know there's a little confusion in there for a minute, but you're following this. Now, it got so that we could hardly see Jack. In fact, we never really could. It was not very clear, but it was very discernible. You could see what he was broadcasting. So then he began to broadcast live. He finished his camera, so he would sit in front of the camera and play his guitar. And we would watch Jack play his guitar. Well, I'm telling you this is what he did, see? Well, one night I came home. Now, remember, he had a transmission radius of roughly, not more than 1.5 miles. If you got further than 1.5 miles from his place, he was running very low power. You couldn't really pick it up. It just looked like a little noise. That's about it, see? So one night, I came home, and I turned on my receiver. I wanted to see how Jack was coming in tonight. And he broadcast every night from 10 until midnight. He put this test signal on. Well, I came home, it was about 9:45. I turned on my receiver. See, I have my ham station going and everything. So I says, I think I'll monitor Jack. So I called up one of my buddies and says, hey, you going to tune in Jack tonight? He says, no. I said, I got people over here. I can't mess around. He said, why don't you monitor him tonight and give him a call and give him a report? See, we were keeping a series of reports. So I turned on this TV set, which we had converted. And there's nothing there except on his channel except a lot of noise at first. See? The sound you get. Well, I see a couple of flashes, a couple of blips go across the screen. Obviously, he's firing something up over there. And then a channel, a carrier comes on. A carrier is when it's just white, when there's no modulation on it. And on comes this white carrier, and I said, Jack's really coming in tonight, see? So I adjusted the contrast, and I tuned it up a little bit and sharpened it up. And then on came his test pattern, which was his ham call, which he had made on a card. He had it all lettered up, with little crosses and stuff. So I'm tuning it up, and then the test pattern disappeared. I don't know exactly how to tell you this, but Jack, for a gag, put on a series of 9 unbelievable pictures, which he had purchased in a special purchase from a short, thin man outside of Pompeii, Italy, one time when he was a GI there. The guy goes, "Oh, your dirty pictures?" And so he bought the whole set of dirty pictures. So he put them on his television transmitter. And I'm sitting there, see, and oh, yeah, it was fantastic. It was just great. You know, it was coming out. He never had a clearer picture, see. So with that, I rushed into the next room. I picked up the phone, and I called my buddy. I called him up right away, and I said, "Hey, Al." And Al's at the other phone. "Yes, what do you want?" I said, "Al, for crying out loud, quick, turn on Jack's signal, see?" He said, "Well, I got people over here." I said, "Turn it on. Go ahead. I'll just go ahead and turn it on." "Well, okay, for crying out loud." So he turns on his receiver. Al does, see? Well, I want to tell you, about 5 minutes later, my phone rings, and I pick it up. "Hello, this is Al." I said, "What's the matter, Al?" He said, "You know that I had Reverend Snodgrass over here, his wife and his 3 kids, and I turned on a transmitter. What the hell comes out?" I said, "What came out, Al?" He said, "Well, I don't know what came out. I had it. This before I could get down the basement, turn it off, they were yelling and hollering. He's calling the cops." Well, so I just want to tell you, there's a lot under the sun, friends, that you have not yet quite tasted. A heady wine, a Walmart, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and Channel 19. Yes, bring it up there, watch. How about a little, it's just a crossfade affair. There we go. Exciting. WOR New York. Next, Lester Smith in the news.